I have news. I am engaged to someone else. My live-in girlfriend announced this while eating dinner in my house that I pay for. So I said congratulations and called the police to escort her out that same night. I am Austin, 31, software engineer making decent money. I own my house outright, saved up for years, put down a big down payment, been paying the mortgage for 3 years now. It is a nice place in a good neighborhood, 3 bedrooms, updated kitchen, the works. I am proud of what I have built. I met Savannah, 28, about 2 years ago at a friend's barbecue. She is pretty, works in marketing for a local company, seemed fun and ambitious. We started dating and things moved fast. After 6 months, she was basically living here full time. After a year, I told her to just move in officially since she was here every night anyway. That was 18 months ago. Here is what our arrangement looked like. I pay the mortgage, utilities, internet, groceries, car insurance for both our cars, streaming services, basically everything. Savannah contributes exactly nothing financially. She said she was building her career and would contribute more later when she got promoted. I figured we were building a future together, so I didn't mind supporting us while she got established. She has her own room that she turned into a home office/Instagram studio. Ring lights, backdrop stands, the whole setup for her content creation, side hustle that brings in maybe $200 a month. I paid for all that equipment too, thinking I was investing in our future. Tuesday evening, I am in the kitchen, making dinner. Nothing fancy, just grilled chicken and vegetables. Savannah comes bouncing in from her office, practically glowing with excitement. Austin, I have news, really big news. I am thinking maybe she got the promotion she has been talking about for months. What is up? She holds out her left hand, showing off a diamond ring I have never seen before. I am engaged. I literally stop stirring the vegetables. Engaged to who? Kyle. You know, Kyle from the gym. We have been seeing each other for a few months now, and he proposed last weekend. I am standing there with a spatula in my hand, looking at this woman who has been living in my house, eating my food, sleeping in my bed, telling me she is engaged to marry someone else. You have been seeing someone else for months. Well, yeah, I mean, we never talked about being exclusive or anything serious. I thought you knew we were just comfortable roommates with benefits. Comfortable roommates with benefits, living in my house for 18 months. While I paid for everything, I set down the spatula and looked at her, really looked at her. She is standing in my kitchen, wearing clothes I probably paid for, with an engagement ring from another man, acting like this is the most normal thing in the world. Congratulations, I said. That is wonderful news. I am really happy for you both. She blinked a few times, clearly expecting a different reaction. That is it. You are not upset. Why would I be upset? That is beautiful. I mean, I thought you might be a little, I don't know, jealous or sad. Savannah, you are engaged to the man you want to marry. That is exactly what is supposed to happen. I am genuinely happy that you found your person. She is looking at me like I am speaking a foreign language. So, we are good. This doesn't change anything between us. That is when I walked to the phone and dialed the non-emergency police line. Hi, I need an officer to come escort someone off my property, please. The look on her face went from confused to panicked in about 2 seconds. But what happened when Officer Blake arrived changed everything I thought I knew about property rights. Update 1, sorry for the delay. Had to work late last night dealing with server issues. Thanks for all the comments. Honestly, reading them helped me realize how insane this whole situation was. So I am on the phone with dispatch, and Savannah is standing there looking like I just told her the house was on fire. Austin, what are you doing? Who are you calling? The police. You are engaged to someone else now. You don't live here anymore. What? I cannot just. I mean, all my stuff is here, my office. Where am I supposed to go? To your fiancé's place, I would assume. That is usually how engagements work. Officer Blake shows up about 20 minutes later. He is this older black guy who looks like he has dealt with every kind of domestic situation imaginable. Very professional, very calm. Officer Blake looks at Savannah. Madam, is this your residence? Well, I live here. I have been living here for over a year. Is your name on the deed, the lease, any rental agreement? No, but madam, if you are not on any legal documents and the homeowner wants you to leave, you need to gather your belongings and go. That is when Savannah lost her shit. This is ridiculous. Austin, you are being completely unreasonable. We are adults. People can be engaged and still live together as friends. I looked at Officer Blake. She is engaged to another man and wants to continue living in my house while I pay all the bills. Officer Blake turned to Savannah with this expression, like he had seen it all before. Madam, you need to pack your things now, but I don't have anywhere to go. Kyle lives with a roommate. That is not this gentleman's problem. You have 30 minutes to gather your essentials. You can arrange to get the rest later. Watching her pack was surreal. She kept trying to negotiate, asking if she could stay just until the weekend, or just until I figure things out. I just sat on the couch while she frantically threw clothes into suitcases, muttering about how I was being dramatic and making this weird. The funniest part was when she tried to pack her ring light setup. "This is my business." I spoke up. "The business that makes $200 a month while I pay for everything else." Even Officer Blake cracked a smile at that one. She ended up calling Kyle to come get her. I could hear her on the phone. "No, I cannot stay here anymore. Austin's being crazy. Yes, tonight. I don't know. Bring your truck." While we waited for Kyle, she kept trying to have serious conversations about how we were throwing away something good, and how she never meant for things to get complicated. "Savannah," I said, "you got engaged to another man while living in my house. It is not complicated. It is over." Kyle showed up around 10 p.m. in a beat-up Ford pickup with one of his buddies. He was exactly what I expected. Big dude, work boots, backwards baseball cap, the kind of guy who thinks being loud makes him intimidating. He walked up to my front door like he owned the place. "Yo, what is this about Savannah having to leave? She lives here." "Not anymore," I said through the doorway. "She is engaged to you now. That makes her your responsibility." "Dude, you cannot just kick her out. Where is she supposed to stay?" "With her fiancé, I would imagine." That is when Kyle got aggressive, started pounding on the door, yelling about how I needed to be a man and handle this like an adult. Officer Blake was still there, which Kyle hadn't noticed because the police car was parked around the corner. Officer Blake walked up behind Kyle. "Is there a problem here?" Kyle spun around, and I swear his whole demeanor changed when he saw the uniform. Went from aggressive alpha male to stammering kid in about 2 seconds. "No sir, no problem. Just helping my girlfriend move." "Fiancé," I corrected from the doorway. "She is your fiancé now." They loaded her stuff into Kyle's truck, 5 suitcases, her laptop, some pictures, basic stuff. She kept looking back at the house like she was expecting me to change my mind. "Austin, call me when you cool down. We can figure this out." "There is nothing to figure out. Congratulations on your engagement." Changed all the locks. Called my security company and had them change all the codes. Blocked Savannah on everything. Phone, social media, email. Then I called my neighbor Marcus, told him what happened. Asked him to let me know if anyone tried to access the property. Marcus is a good dude. I slept better that night than I had in months. Wednesday was quiet. Went to work, came home, made dinner for one person for the first time in 18 months. It felt peaceful, but Thursday evening, Kyle showed up again. And what he demanded made me realize this whole situation was about to get much more complicated. Update 2: car broke down Tuesday. Finally got it back from the shop. You guys were right about everything, by the way. This whole thing was crazier than I thought. Thursday evening, around 7 p.m., I am on my couch watching Netflix, when someone starts pounding on my front door, aggressive, angry pounding. I check my Ring doorbell, and it is Kyle looking pissed off. I don't open the door. I talk through the Ring speaker. "What do you want, Kyle?" "We need to talk." "No thanks." "What do you want?" "She has got nowhere else to go." "She has got nowhere else to," pacing on my porch. Getting more agitated. "Look, man. I live in a studio apartment with my roommate. There is no space for her there. Sounds like a you problem. Don't be a dick. She has been living here for over a year. You cannot just throw her out." I actually opened the door then. "My name is on the deed. I pay the mortgage. She has got nowhere else to go, man. Be reasonable. She has got her fiancé. That is you. Figure it out." But all her stuff is here. Her office, her whole life was here. Past tense. She made a choice when she decided to get engaged to you. That is when Kyle said something that made everything click. "Look, I cannot afford to take care of her right now. I am between jobs and barely making rent as it is." There it was. He thought he was getting a girlfriend who had her own place and income. He had no idea she was completely financially dependent on me. "Kyle, How much money do you think Savannah makes? I don't know. Like 60 or 70 grand. She works in marketing at that company downtown. I almost laughed. She makes $32,000 a year, and she contributes exactly $0 to any household expenses. She has been living here completely free for 18 months. The look on his face was priceless, like someone had just told him Santa wasn't real. What are you talking about? She said she was moving out of your place by choice because she wanted to be independent. Kyle, she pays for nothing. No rent, no utilities, no groceries, no insurance, nothing. I have been subsidizing her entire lifestyle. He is quiet for a long moment, processing this information. Then, so where has she been getting money for all her clothes and going out and stuff? From me. I give her access to my credit cards for household expenses. That apparently included a lot of personal shopping. Kyle's face went through several emotions: confusion, realization, anger. She told me she had money saved up and was looking for a bigger place for us to move into together. Nope, she is broke. Completely financially dependent on whoever she is living with. Shit. He sat down on my porch steps, head in his hands. Shit, shit, shit. Kyle, let me ask you something. What did you think was going to happen here? You proposed to my live-in girlfriend and expect me to just keep supporting her financially while she marries you? I didn't know. She said you guys were just friends, roommates. She said you wouldn't care. That hit me harder than I expected. She had told him we were just roommates. After 18 months of me thinking we were building a life together. Well, now you know. She is your fiancé, which makes her your responsibility. I am not running a charity for engaged women. Kyle stood up, but all the fight had gone out of him. Man, I cannot afford to support someone else. My work construction. And I am barely covering my own bills. Then maybe you shouldn't have. He walked away without another word. I watched through my security cameras as he sat in his truck for almost 10 minutes, presumably calling Savannah. Friday was quiet again, but Saturday morning, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Kyle. Can we talk? Not about Savannah moving back in, something else. I called him back, curious. Dude, he said. I need to tell you something. Savannah's been lying to both of us. Big time. What Kyle told me next completely changed how I understood the last 18 months of my life. Final update: had to deal with a work emergency all week, server migration from hell. Finally got time to finish this story, and honestly, you guys are not going to believe how this ended. So Kyle calls me Saturday morning and says Savannah's been lying to both of us. I meet him at a coffee shop because this conversation needed to happen face to face. Turns out Savannah had been telling Kyle that she and I broke up months ago and were just roommates sharing expenses until she could find her own place. She said I was desperate to keep her around because I was lonely, and that she was doing me a favor by staying and helping with bills. Meanwhile, she was telling me that we were building a future together, and she just needed time to establish her career before contributing financially. Kyle shows me text messages going back 4 months. Screenshots of conversations where she is complaining about me being clingy and pathetic, and how she couldn't wait to get out of that situation once she found someone better. But here is the kicker. She was also telling Kyle that she had $15,000 saved up and excellent credit, and that she was looking at apartments for them to move into together after they got engaged. She showed him fake bank statements and everything. Dude, Kyle says, I proposed because I thought I was getting a financially stable woman who was ready to start a life together. She made it sound like you were some weird ex who wouldn't leave her alone. Savannah had been running a con on both of us, telling each of us what we wanted to hear while setting up her next meal ticket. Kyle's construction income is maybe $45K a year. He was living with a roommate because that is what he could afford. Where is she staying now? I asked. Back with her parents. They are furious. Her mom called me screaming about how Savannah had a good thing going and threw it away for some broke construction worker. Even her own parents knew she was using me. Kyle breaks up with her the next week, shows up at her parents' house, returns some things, tells her he cannot afford to support someone who lied about everything. Her parents apparently sided with him, telling Savannah she made her bed and has to lie in it. 2 weeks later, Savannah starts texting me from different numbers. Austin, I made a terrible mistake. Kyle wasn't ready for real commitment. You were the stable one all along. I realize now that what we had was special. I took it for granted. Can we talk? I promise I will contribute financially now. I will get a second job. I will do whatever it takes. I screenshot everything and send it to Kyle. He responds, Bro, she sent me the exact same messages, but with your name replaced with someone who actually cares about me. She was literally copy-pasting the same manipulation script to both of us. Meanwhile, my life improved dramatically. Without supporting Savannah's lifestyle, I had an extra $2,000 plus per month. I put it toward home improvements, new hardwood floors, updated bathroom, better security system. Our first conversation included her insisting on splitting dinner costs, because I don't believe in anyone paying for another adult's expenses unless they are married. Night and day difference from Savannah. Has her own place. When we go out, we alternate who pays. Relationships actually look like we both dodged a grenade. 6 months later, I am scrolling Instagram and see Savannah's profile. She is posting inspirational quotes about learning to love yourself and building independence. The comments show she has moved to a different city, working at a restaurant, living with roommates. Reality finally caught up with her. The final twist came when my neighbor Marcus told me something interesting. He had been keeping an eye on things like I asked, and he mentioned that during those 18 months Savannah lived with me, he had seen Kyle's truck in my driveway multiple times during the day when I was at work. She had been bringing him to my house, eating my food, using my Wi-Fi, probably sleeping in my bed, while I was at work paying for everything. Kyle confirmed it when I asked him. Yeah. She said you were cool with it. Said you knew about us and didn't care as long as she didn't move out and leave you all alone. The level of manipulation was actually impressive in a sociopathic way. Last month, Jennifer and I moved in together to her place because we split everything 50/50ths and her mortgage payment is lower than mine. I am renting out my house to a nice family for enough to cover the mortgage plus maintenance. Passive income from property I own instead of deadweight expenses for someone who was using me. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if Savannah hadn't announced her engagement that night. How long would she have kept the con going? How much more money would I have spent supporting someone who was actively planning to leave me for someone else? The engagement announcement was actually the best thing that could have happened. It forced the truth into the open and gave me a clear reason to cut ties immediately. Property rights are simple. My house, my rules. Emotional manipulation doesn't trump ownership law, and being comfortable roommates with benefits doesn't create any legal obligation to support someone financially. Kyle and I actually grab beers occasionally now. Turns out we have a lot in common, and we both learned valuable lessons about vetting people before getting too invested. He is dating someone new who has her own apartment and pays her own bills. Savannah taught both of us that actions have immediate consequences, and that the best way to spot a gold digger is to stop providing gold and see what happens. Thanks for following this crazy story. Life's good when you are not subsidizing someone else's betrayal.